Hi guys, I hope you have all been doing good. It's been a while, so let's get started with the video. This past 2 weeks, my mom has been not feeling very well. She was in the hospital for the past 2 weeks. I think those were some of the hardest weeks of my life because she had been sick prior to that. The first time she was admitted at the hospital, she was there for just 3 days. So this was day 1, day 2, and then day 7, and then day 14. It was very hard for me and my elder sister because we were far from home. So we would call each other just to see who has had any message fast and all of those things. It was also very hard to reach to my mom because she can't make international calls. It would be super expensive for her. So I would have to wait until it's like morning, or I would sleep super late because I would be waiting for a call. And so for the most part of the day, that's the only thing I would be sitting around thinking about, waiting for. It's my mom, and that's just one of the biggest reasons, it's my mom. That's what's been happening. That's why we've been away. You can't create content and you can't be like in a place where you're like, oh hey guys, I'm happy, but your mom is not doing well. So I couldn't be in that. I don't know how other people do it, but for me, I just can't be in a place where my mom or my sister or my brother or somebody else in my family is not doing well. That's why we've been away. But she left the hospital 3 days ago. She's doing much better. I mean, the one thing that we're just praying for is for healing. I feel like medicine is necessary, but the ultimate thing is for God to be the one who does the ultimate healing. It's God who can do the healing. So that's what we're praying for, even as she's taking her medicine. I'm also very thankful for my dad. He kept me posted the whole time. He was tirelessly just messaging me every single day, bit by bit, of everything that happened, what she ate, all of those things. So I'm very thankful for that. Marry the right husband. He's a great dad. That's all I can say. That's what's been happening. But I'm glad that she's home. I'm glad that she's doing so much better. Just pray for my mom. Pray that she experiences like the complete healing from God. On other news, I am now in my 30s. I don't feel 30, to be honest. Let me see what kind of makeup I'll be able to do. This wasn't the plan. Let's talk. I'm in my 30s. Because I'm in my 30s, I feel like there are some things that in my life I felt like I should or would have been able to do by the time I reach 30. One of those things, to be honest, for me was getting a house for myself. It was not a dream that I just formed here. It was a dream that I had back in Kenya. Like I had the business plan. I had how much money I'm going to save by a certain amount of time. In Kenya, we buy land. You buy land, and then, not that I'm saying Americans don't buy land, but it's not like a big, huge thing here. In Kenya, you buy the land, you build on the land. There's people who do that here, but here you just find like automated, like automatically built house. Automatically, like built house that are like, you find houses that have already been built, and then that house is what you buy, and then you live in that house. If you want to make renovations, you make renovations. So that's the major difference that I'm seeing between America and Kenya. In my mind, by the time I got to 30, I would have already been living in my own house according to my plan that I had way back in Kenya. This was way back when I was still at the university. That's how I used to calculate. I would calculate, I'm done with school at this point. I'm doing this business. I'm doing school stuff. Once I'm done with school, I start working. Then when I started working, I started saving up for stuff. So I had my life planned out, and there was just a way that in my head it would have looked at a certain point in my life. Now let's begin the makeup. Let's, for example, say some of you are in your 20s, some of you are in your, I don't know how old are you, some of you are. I would assume everybody has a plan that they have, like a 10-year plan or a 20-year plan. Like, do you have a plan? Like, comment down below. Do you have a plan? Like, in 10 years, this is where I am seeing myself. Because for me, I usually have those kinds of plans. Not to be a superficial person in a way like that, but it's to be in a sense that this is what we're working towards. The reason why I'm doing this video is because sometimes when I scroll through social media, and probably maybe some of you have gone through that kind of thing, you scroll through social media, you see somebody else going through life in such a way that you feel, what's wrong with my life? What am I doing wrong? What did they do right that I did not do? Let's do this part of the face first before I continue. Here, my life has kind of taken a 360 turn. We had to go through the whole change, moving from one country into another. You're literally starting from scratch. And so that's where I am. I am starting from scratch. I will be lying if I said starting over is easy. It's not easy. Granted, I am so happy that I am living life with my husband right now. That's one of the biggest highlights in my life. Like, I get to spend my life with Benjamin. It's just one thing I can never complain about. He's just someone God sent to me at the right time. He's just someone who is very encouraging. He loves me. Feeling like everybody else's life is going just forward and yours is just regressing. That's probably the worst part. I'll say this though. If you feel like you are behind in life and you have, maybe let's say you have a friend that's making you feel like you're behind in life, that's not your friend. Your friend is not supposed to make you feel like you're behind in life. They're supposed to make you feel like you're actually trying to get there. And thank God I have good friends. When I came here, I got good friends. Friendship is not discouragement. Friendship is encouragement. If they see you on your lowest, they are ready to drop everything and come to you. If you feel like you're in a type of friendship where that friendship is making you feel less of yourself, or like you're regressing more than you're progressing, that's probably not a good friendship. A good friendship is the kind that you feel like this person is telling you, we are all growing together. We are growing together. Thank God. I thank God that the kind of people he put in my life, they're those kinds of people. And I would just like to give a special shout out to David and Annie, and then Elle and Nico. I've also read, this is something that I have been getting from my emails and my social media. People messaging me, they're like, Akinyi, can you help me find somebody from the United States because I'm this and this age and I'm not married? And I'm just thinking, just because you're not married doesn't mean you're behind. Marriage is a good thing. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say marriage is not a good thing, but also marriage can bring a lot of strain in your life if you find the wrong person. If you don't know how to deal with arguments, if you don't know how to deal with money in marriage can break a marriage. If you research, you will find the number one reason why most people break up in marriages is because of money. And if you're 30 or 35 and you've not settled down, I feel like don't let that stress you. I'll tell you what my mom used to tell us when we were growing up. My mom used to say, don't rush yourself. Because if you end up rushing yourself, you'll end up falling. And falling means you'll end up marrying the wrong person because you're trying to be in a rush. Because you just want that status of being married. It's not worth it being married to the wrong person just because everybody else around you is married and you're not. Take your time. This is the look. If you are at a certain age and you're feeling behind, there's a reason why you're feeling behind. I remember sometimes I would go on social media, and this is the Kenyan social media. I would go on social media. We have some Kenyan influencers, which I'm not trying to call anybody out, so please, it's not me calling anybody out. This is how I just used to feel when sometimes I would watch people. So sometimes I would watch some Kenyan influencers, and some of them would make me feel like my life is just not it. Like your life is just And then there's some who you would feel like I can relate with them. And so when I would watch some of them, I would feel like, what am I doing wrong with my life that we're all Kenyans, okay? We have the same economy. And if you're in a third world country, everybody is living in the same economy. But if you're all living in the same economy and somebody looks like they are having a much higher economy than you, where are they getting what they're getting? And it's not like I wasn't working hard. It's not like I wasn't putting my best foot forward. I was working, I was schooling at the same time. I was doing just so many things just to make myself feel like I'm moving forward, like I'm getting ahead. Let me give you an example. Here in America is where I have seen it's very normal, so to speak. I don't know, maybe I just grew up a little privileged, maybe. But in Kenya, the people I used to hang around, I never used to see them like work and school at the same time. It was just a few people who came from not so well-to-do families because they would have to support themselves. But the families that could be able to support themselves, the kids would just come to school and they go back home because that's their life. That's the life that they know. My dad was able to take care of my school fee, okay? It's not like my dad wasn't able to pay my school fee. He did that. And I'm always going to be very grateful for my dad. But I also could do my own thing. So I would work at the same time. Sometimes I would help pay for my school fees. Sometimes I would just do all of those things. In that moment, I felt like my life was going the way it's supposed to be going. I'm working, I have these goals, and the goal was to get myself like a brand new camera that could be I could use for when I do like my major photo shoots and all of those things. So that was my dream, and I was working towards that. Fast forward, moving here, I feel like my life has kind of regressed in the sense that I've had to start from scratch. In Kenya, because I had my photography business, I had the makeup business, I had all the things that I was doing, I had created a clientele. I would always get referrals. I knew that I was constantly busy. Here, it's like I have to start from scratch. I have to start business from scratch. I have to start working from scratch. I literally have to start everything from scratch. I would say part of the reason why most people feel stuck in life, it's because on social media there's this perception of perfection. So when you have a perception of perfection, of this is what, now let me just give you a very, very good example. For example, you see, like, you go on TikTok, you see like this couple is doing this kind of thing, or some guy proposed to a girl in a certain way, and that has been your dream proposal. So when your guy proposes to you in a way that you didn't want, you find another TikTok video of a girl saying, why didn't you propose to me in like a glamorous way or in like a this way? But is the proposal that important compared to the person you're getting? There was a time I would just be up almost all night thinking, what am I doing with my life that is wrong? Everybody else is living in this same Kenya that we are living in. They all have the same economy that I have. I am working hard, I am doing my best. Now this is what I want to bring to you. There's a difference between working hard and working smart. When you work hard, you can work hard forever. But when you work smart, you won't have to work hard forever. I had to learn that difference at a peak of my life when I was now almost moving here. So now, but the moment that now that I have moved here, you know, meeting people, meeting different people, talking about different things, talking about life, finances and all of these things, it gives you a different perception also, perspective, not perception. It gives you a different perspective, and you can see like there's someone who is like, oh, working, and you can just see the difference between someone who worked smart and someone who worked hard, because there's people who just work super hard and they're still stuck in the same spot. But when you work smart, you can't be stuck in the same spot. I think figure out how to work smart. Now, me saying that I'm feeling like I'm stuck behind, it's not because I'm not doing anything. It's because I do not have some of the paperwork that I need for me being here in America. So it's not because I'm not working hard, because I'm working hard towards our goals. We have our goals. We have the things that we are going forward to, you know, like working towards, and we have priorities other things compared to other things. And so starting up something is hard. And when let's say for example you start a business, that's one of the hardest things you can do, to be honest. If you have ever had the opportunity to start a business, you know that the hardest thing to do is to start a business, create a client list, just create something that people are just going to be coming back to you constantly. That is one of the hardest things to do. But is it worth it? Yes. You being a certain age and not being somewhere where you want to be does not mean that you're a failure. Because for me, sometimes I would equate, because I am not doing what I wanted to do, it equates to me as a failure. And Benjamin struggled so much to tell me, why are you thinking that you're a failure because you're not doing what you thought you would have done? Let me tell you my life goals. My life goals was, and this is something that even before I even met Benjamin, I remember my next door neighbor, who used to be my best friend in Kenya, we used to come up with these plans. So in my plan was I was going to be a poultry farmer. Yeah, your girl wanted to do poultry, basically farming. I wanted to do farming, like just farming in general. So I was thinking I want to have like cows, and I want to have like chicken, and I want to have like just farming animals, so that the cow can produce the milk. I sell the milk for a certain amount, because it has to be a certain type of cow. You can tell I did research, and this was back when I was still I hadn't even gotten to college. because we were still in high school. Those are the plans we were making. I was in high school, on my last year of high school, because in high school you have to figure out what do you want to do with your life. So I was trying to figure out what do I want to do with my life. So this was my plan. I get into poultry and farming. I start doing farming. So I have like the cow. I have the cow. The cow is giving me milk. At some point, if the cow gets to a point where I feel like it can give out meat, I sell it to the place where they butcher the cow. I get money for my cow. The cow dung is also manure. So the manure it can be used as fertilizer. So I sell the manure as fertilizer. So I have money coming from manure, and then the cow manure and the chicken manure, like any poultry that I had at that time. And the kind of poultry that I wanted to have turkey, not so much chicken. I wanted turkey is kind of like a delicacy. It's like one of those rare meats, so to speak. It falls on the expensive chart list. If you're having turkey, it's more pricey than chicken. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to say. I don't know where I was. The camera decided to die. Yeah, and then I met my husband, and then our dreams. Now my dreams became his dreams became my dreams. Everybody feels like I should be married by a certain age. Let me tell you what my mom used to tell me. My mom is an African woman who is cut from a different cloth. My mom is not the kind of person who will call me like, when are you giving me babies? That's what my mom would be like, take your time. So my mom is the kind of person who would tell me, I remember growing up all the time when everybody else is busy quickly getting married at a certain age. Not quickly, let me not use the word quickly. When everybody else is getting married at a certain age, and then you're feeling like, am I the only one who's not getting married? First of all, not everybody who's married is happy. Second of all, you could have found the worst person for you. Third of all, just because you're a certain age and you're not married does not mean your life is not good or it's not where it's supposed to be. That's exactly where it's supposed to be. Not because you don't want to get married, because you do know that you want to get married. You do know your plans. You do know what your dreams are. You just need to find the right person. Unfortunately, some people that I meet or some people that message me, they have a particular race in mind, or they have a particular bank account status in mind. I'm not saying it's wrong to marry what you want, but just so you know, if you're just going to look for someone who's like a multi-millionaire or someone who's just rich, you will have to look very hard, because if you want to find a rich person, go where the rich people are, like where they hang out. So if you feel like social media is a big and a huge part of why you are feeling the way you're feeling, my advice is, this is what I would advise you: stop looking at that part of social media. It's not going to help you. It's just going to make you feel like you're going back all the time. I think I watched some influences that made me feel like my life is not where it needs to be. I would not want to be that influencer who makes you feel like your life is not where it needs to be. You know, I think the biggest thing I would want to be doing in your life is to encourage you that even if you feel like you're not there yet, you're getting there. But how are you getting there? Are you trying to get there on your own? Because I've had people say, I'm manifesting my life. I know for a fact that I cannot manifest my life. You know, go and look up manifesting. Like, look up that word and see if you can actually do what that word says. I know that there's one person in my life who can only manifest things, and that for me is God. You cannot, like, let me give you an example. You cannot manifest breathing. There's somebody who's giving you that breath. For me, I do not believe in manifestation, like self-manifestation, because when you start saying that I am manifesting, you're making yourself the God who is, and I can't do that. I'm not God. I know that I serve a living God, and with my faith, it's just, that doesn't work for me. I serve the God who makes things manifest for me. So how I do it, I go to God, I tell him, God, this is what I want in my life. can you help me? Because he's God of wisdom, God of knowledge, God of understanding. In this life, I'll tell you 3 things that I learned from Miles Monroe. If you know Miles Monroe, you know that he has some philosophical Christian training, like Christian sermons. So he was saying, this is what he was saying. He was saying, first, you need knowledge. You need the knowledge of things. Once you have the knowledge, you need understanding. Because once you know something and you understand something, applying it is going to be easy. But there's people who have the knowledge and the understanding, but they don't have the application. The application is wisdom. So knowledge is to know, to understanding is to comprehend, then wisdom is the application. Which is why Solomon had knowledge, he had understanding, and then he had wisdom. He knew where to get the things that he would get for him to build wealth for his kingdom. He understood how to get it, and now he applied how to get it. You could be in a position where you know that you want to start a specific business, but you don't have the knowledge of the business. I mean, you don't have the understanding. You know the business, but you don't have an understanding of the business. Your first thing is to get to understand the business, because if you understand the business, applying what you have understood is going to be easy. So yeah, and that's not manifestation. That's working according to the linear way that God had destined us to be able to understand things and know things and be wise in things. And so now if you get to the point where you have that, okay, then you tell God, God, you're the one who has this wisdom, you're the one who has this knowledge, you're the one who has understanding. Can you give it to me? Because the word says, if you ask for wisdom, I will give it to you. Then God will give it to you, and guess what? You're going to be in a place where you want your life to be. Not because you could manifest, but because you ask the person who's manifesting it. You see the difference? I will say this. I don't feel stuck. I don't feel stuck because I'm not doing my best in life. And I don't feel stuck because I'm not putting my best foot forward. I feel stuck because there was a whole setback with my whole move. But I feel like once I get all the necessary things that I need, once I get all the necessary paperwork that I need, I think because of who I serve, because of who I am with, my husband, I think my life is going to move forward in an accelerated way. Accelerated is the word. My advice to you, both of us who are feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you're a certain age and there's something that you want but you haven't gotten to that point, I think just keep on holding on. Again, there's a voice in your head that could be telling you you can't do something, or there's a voice in your head that's telling you you have tried it so many times and it hasn't worked. You could listen to that voice, or you could listen to the voice that tells you God is faithful. He knows your dreams. You have told him the dreams. Just keep on thanking God for the dreams. The biggest miracle that ever happened was by thanksgiving. Jesus gave thanks for the loaf and the fish. And he just looked into the heavens and he said, I thank you. I mean, I'm just assuming, but the Bible just says, and he gave thanks. So he gave thanks. After he gave thanks, there was multiplication. Now, I'll teach you this. This is what I was telling my husband the other day. If you're a Christian, and I would hope that you're a Christian, if you're a Christian, just know that thanksgiving multiplies things for you, and praise breaks down the walls for you. So if you want God to multiply something for you, even if you haven't seen it, it's not that you're manifesting. See, there's a difference. You're doing it by faith. You're saying, God, you're the creator of this world. You are the one who gave thanks. You know, he gave thanks because Jesus is God. He gave thanks and it multiplied the fish and the bread. So in the same way, calling to the things, there's a Bible verse that says, call things that are not as though they are. In the event that you're doing the calling of the things that are not as though they are, you're giving thanks to God and you're saying, God, I thank you. Let's say, for example, you want your business to be successful, or you want to start a business. You say, God, I want to start a business and I know that you're God. And so I thank you because I know that you have given me the idea of starting up a business. So you're thanking him already for the business. Then you will notice that you'll start having ideas that you yourself, there's no way I could have thought about that. That's how you know it's God. Because you think, there's no way me I could have thought about that. It has to be something. It just has to be God. That's how you know. So for me, that's my biggest advice. Just wait on God. God is faithful. He's going to take care of you. He doesn't want you to feel like you're left behind. He doesn't want you to feel like you're stuck in one spot. God is not a God of being stuck. He's a God of forwardness. He wants you to feel like you're going forward and you're moving forward. Yeah, you guys, if you're feeling stuck in life, just pray, praise, give thanks, let it multiply. And it doesn't multiply instantly. God is not an instant noodle. Like, you just put hot water and then it just becomes like nice. And God takes you through a process, not because he wants you to struggle. So there's some things that are very hard to explain. In the Old Testament, sometimes they would say the sins of the father will follow the sons up to the fourth generations. So there are some sins that you did, your parents did, your parents' did, and they're following you in generations. So I'll give you an example. You could have a generational curse of poverty and you don't know, but you have to pray against that generational curse of poverty, because you could be working hard, you could be working smart, and you're stuck. So you have to come against poverty in prayer, because there's a generational curse that's going through your downline. There's people who don't believe in stuff like that, but if it's a pattern, if you find out that something is a pattern in your life, just know there's something. Because for you to know you're not pregnant, there's a pattern. There's a pattern of having period, right? It's a pattern. You already know I'm not pregnant. If your father was a drunkard, your brother was a drunkard, you become a drunkard, there's something going on in your family downline that you have to deal with in prayer. You get what I'm trying to say? So now you have to figure out, what is my family struggling with that I need to deal with in prayer? That's what I'm trying to say, which I have lost my thought process, but somehow I ended up there. So yeah, just know what you're dealing with. Know if it's spiritual, and then pray about it. Know if it's just you need time to be able to regroup yourself and bring your prayers to God, and God answers them. But God is not an instant noodle. He's not just going to say, oh, you have prayed, here you go. There are days where you will see a prayer being answered like that. And then there are days where you will see that you have to wait and you have to be patient, because part of the gifts of the Holy Spirit is patience. But God has taught me patience, and that's why I'm saying he'll take you through a process, not because you've done some of the things, because some of your ancestors did some of the things. Maybe also you have a process, you have a prayer process that you need to go through, that you need to deal with things. And also maybe because maybe you just don't know how to deal with money. So God is like, if I'm giving you $1,000 and you're just spending it on just, and what will happen if I give you $10,000? What will you spend it on? So that's the thing. So I think there's like a father. God is a father, and a father will not watch you fail. He will want you to learn before. So if he sees that you're failing, this is just my thought process. I'm not saying that that's what happens. I'm saying this is my thought process. Because God is the father, right? And think about it. If your father sees you failing constantly, he'll sit you down and he'll tell you, maybe you need to change your direction, because that's your dad, So God is the father of fathers. If he sees you going wrong, it's the same thing. You just can't see him, but maybe he's trying to tell you in the instances that are surrounding you, like what is surrounding you. Like, think about it. What is this that is surrounding me? What is it telling me? So yeah, maybe you need to think of it in terms of that, and then you'll come to a conclusion of, this is maybe what I'm struggling with, this is what I'm going through, this is I need to either deal with it in prayer, I need maybe to work a little more harder, I need to maybe work a little more smarter, like that. For me, all the things I'm telling you guys, for me, the things that I have gone through in this life, without prayer, I don't even know. Like, I'll just give you one last example. So remember when I said I feel like we have had a setback? So me and Benjamin, we've been praying about my paperwork, and we were like, why is it taking so long? Everybody else who came after me, like, I meet people and then they say I also came through the K1 visa, now I'm working, I'm doing all of these things, and I'm like, okay, What about my paperwork? And then I go back to God. God, what about my paperwork? And so we were just praying every single day. So it is part of our prayer point. If you come to our house, we have in our fridge, we usually have the prayer point for the week. So it's like stuck on the fridge somewhere, or for the month or for the year. So we just pray. We just pray about that. And then at night we usually have like we read the Bible, like word for the day. So we have like a word, because you have it's your daily bread, you have to eat it. Okay, so now we kept on praying, and then one day I was just on, that's why I say God answers you in a very, sometimes it's very interesting how God answers prayers. I'm on TikTok, and then this lady is like, the US something is doing something, and all you need to do is just call. And then I was like, okay, let me just tell Benjamin about this. So Benjamin decides to call them. The first day they don't pick up, they don't call him back. He tries, and then the week after he tries. And then so I just went to God and I said, okay, God, we have tried what we can humanly possibly do. So you, God, because you're a supernatural God, you need to answer me in a supernatural way. So I'm asking, what's up with my paperwork? What is holding it up? Now I had to change my prayer, because I was just praying, God, please, my paperwork. God, please, my paperwork. Then I asked him, God, this time I was very particular about the question. I asked him, God, can you just reveal to us what is holding back our paperwork? Then Benjamin called them. They called Benjamin back, and they told him, there's something that you had not included in the paperwork, that's why it was set aside. If that is not God, what is that? This is right after we have prayed, asking God, what is the thing behind this? Because now you have to get to a point where now remember, God is a father. So how would you just keep on going to your dad and telling him, Dad, I want this, Dad, I want this? Or you have to go and say, okay, now I have to figure out how I can talk to my dad in another way that will make him give me what I need. So I will tell him, is there a way that I can have it? And then so now I just, from the knowledge of the Holy Spirit, just figure out how the Holy Spirit is your knowledge, and then that's how we got there. And then now to be honest, now I'm just like, God is about to open up doors, open up windows of blessings, showers of blessings. They're just about to pour out upon us, and just showers of blessings of God. I'm telling you this so that you can learn how to pray for yourself, so that you can learn not to wait, so that you don't have to sleep on your bed thinking, what is my life? Why am I stuck here? And wherever you are in life, even if you feel like you're old, even if you feel like you are, because I remember in my 20s I would still feel like I'm old, and I've not gotten to the point where I want to be in life. In my 20s, guys, I would feel like, oh my God, I'm getting old and I don't have my house and I'm in my 20s. Can you imagine? I think I was always pushing too hard. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I think I just needed to talk about that. I needed to like pour my heart out to you and just tell you the things of God, the things that I've been currently going through. And yeah, prayer is essential. It is essential to pray. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being on this channel. We're looking forward to posting more videos. Because my mom was sick, I just was not in a place of being able to sit down, edit. I just wasn't in the right mindset. But now I'm back. Pray for her, pray for us, pray for my paperwork to go well, just pray in the name of Jesus. That's the only prayer I want. Pray. And I'm so thankful that you're here. I'm thankful that you are part of my journey, and I will see you on the next video. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and also big thank you to Ella and Nico for planning my birthday party and everybody who came there, and everybody who came. I'm super grateful. And yeah, Alright guys, see you on the next video. Bye. Also, I will post the birthday video maybe on Friday. So I'll see you guys on Friday. Toodles.